have after the first 2 weeks in the CDL. So if you are Atlanta FaZe, you're really looking for like a confidence booster series, and unfortunately for Vegas Falcons, this might be it for them.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I mean, I think the thing about this, you know, kind of spinning it on both sides, for Atlanta, worst team in search and destroy right now in the league, 0-4, but they also lose by an average of over 2 rounds. They also currently hold the worst average point differential on Hardpoint, losing by an average almost 60 points. So again, not a lot to speak of in terms of the Falcons when it comes to overall positivity, only a single map win in a search and destroy. So again, we're still looking to see what the identity of this team is going to be, but I think you're right here, Jay. Atlanta FaZe need to come out here and dominate, because I think they're like on the fringe of, you know, feeling like some Call of Duty yips if they just feel like they just cannot get over this hurdle. But it's a good start to open up 2 for 1 pitch from King of Boot, trying to get around the back, but shut down by aBeZy.
And what I mean by dominate is not really everyone go out there and get 30 kills. I'm talking about you can get a bare minimum, everyone around 20 to 25, but you're blowing the game out by 150. That means you're doing the fundamental part correctly, but so far not off to a great start as Exnid is able to catch that double. You got Vegas currently soaking up this P1 time, but with only 25 seconds, you see the rest of Atlanta FaZe all sitting comfortably around that P2 area. Clean 4 dead now.
And I like the fact that, you know, when the Deaths was talking, like, it's not a gun skill diff, you know, why Atlanta.
Hell no.
In the moment, this is some of the most talented players we've ever had in Call of Duty history. It really is just the squad getting into a rhythm together. And again, a series like this could provide that little bit of a spark. And so far, so good here for Atlanta. They get the majority of time on 1, and they've got set up for new.
Yeah, and not trying to allow anyone to sneak on by, but you see King Abad, who already working his way towards the back. Vasilium catches the read on him. It's 3 dead in the feed. Last player alive is all the way across the map, and a perfect hold so far from Atlanta.
Looking solid. Falcons trying to set up their break attempt. A lot of it coming from the high ground. 1 sneaking down low. That's number 5 in King Abood. Able to open up with a double around the back. Talk about this team, this Falcons team, maybe being a little bit too AR-centric. And how about it? King Abood's able to pull up the SMG, get a little bit of work done, and there's at least some neutralization of time on P2, but Atlanta with the quick spawns are right back in control.
Yep, they are controlling towards that back end, and they're trading effectively around this Hardpoint still, so keeping themselves in the numbers advantage. 1 for 1 is the trade again, and now the spawns is all the way across the map for the Falcons. So now with only 20 seconds left, you might just have to hit that rotation, but now it's time for the Tiny Terrorists to get to be the aggressors on the map as they catch 2.
So far, so good. Shots around the corner. Simp waiting for the regen. Not going to be allowed to make a further play as Kick shuts it down. He has been unbelievable. For a team that's only won a single map, he still sits number 4 in overall KD across the league. It's just the rest of his teammates. They have not been there in any foreign. King of Bodies close to last. Exnid Roxas are like in the 40th range in terms of overall KD. So again, it's just for Vegas getting everyone on the same page as Kicks.
Yeah, and also trying to find a little bit of success in respawns. Keep in mind, they haven't really been practicing against the NA teams all their life. They just came to the States a couple weeks ago, so you're still trying to get your feet wet. But they're at least keeping it mixing in every single one of these hard points. Atlanta, though, they find themselves with 3 in the feed. Last player is going to be Kicks, and he's able to catch that double to keep the spawns in favor of his team for new.
Trying to bounce frags off the wall. Not going to be able to connect as the trophy system denies it before it can make any impact occur. Exit off the regen. Last one standing for the Falcons, trying to get some help. And the pinch from aBeZy is beautifully timed. 2 for aBeZy. Atlanta FaZe all over the time of scrap. And now it's just down to, can they get a read in the split spawn situation as they do deal with Roxas and Kicks on the other side of the map, getting them in position for P4.
Yeah, that's fantastic early break even before the hill pops to secure those back spawns. Now an uphill battle again for the Falcons. King of Bood not having the best time so far, sitting at 2 and 9. He has found a couple players on the back end, but the stun is going to connect. You set up Cillian for the freebie. Draws it with the double. Is still going to be able to put himself in a position to block those back spawns, but now the pitch is here for Atlanta.
Good damage being tallied by Kicks, but again, there's just no other help nearby. So Atlanta will eventually deal with Kicks, get into the hard point, and 35 seconds to fight. King of Booty looking to get himself in as an entry. Already tagged up, and Sip says, all right, fine. I'll go ahead and push that through. Draza also denies the play over towards the topside jump wall, and that'll be enough for Atlanta to still hold numbers here. The next break attempt is on the way, or at least it looked like it was on the way until Exnid drops.
Yeah, now Falcons do have the numbers, though, to still find this late game break for this final 15. You just got to go quickly because Atlanta FaZe are already a step ahead thinking about that next hardpoint rotation. As they're in control of the piano side, they're being aggressive over towards the bottom side of bedroom, but you do have a route being hit by King of Body. Can he get anything on that end?
Roxas gets the opener up top. Oh, Cell, you see it from the third person perspective. He was tagged out for the first gunfight, still deals with the second, and with that, Vegas will all fall. So now you've got 125 to 50. Nades over the top, will land for Vegas. Simp, the next line of defense, as Draza to Beezy help him out, and that's going to be enough for another 3-man feed, and Atlanta once more just sweep through the kill feed.
And you can see on your minimap, look what Selim is doing. He's just simply blocking spawns. Every time Simp decides to pass up through that bedroom area, Selim has to back up so they don't have a free pinch spawn. So the fundamentals right now for Atlanta FaZe, they are showing. As now it's Sim's turn to strike onto the point, only able to take down one. The rest of Vegas just fly right on through and would look to be a great hold from Atlanta FaZe for at least the first 45. Spawn slipping, now Vegas have an opportunity.
Chance to possibly go from P1 to P2, but Simp is already hitting her out as we listen into the Atlanta FaZe comms, see how they try to break P2.
Hey, I'm gonna hold. I don't think I put
I think one got the best. I think one got the best.
Hey, bottom couch for me. Full flip. I'm gonna play for smart.
I'll see my plot. Somebody's still missing one.
Item.
Oh, one shot.
I see him in the back.
We're still missing him though.
I
Can't do one. Everyone can't do one.
How much?
I saw down.
Right at me. Right.
I'm repitching left side. I'm repitching left side.
In the back, a body, one shot.
20.
One
More. Two more in the back. One shot right. Nice.
I got time. Close probably. Good time.
Yeah, I got time.
Freeze one.
I'm watching my low left. I'm trying to drop back.
I have 2 minutes.
No.
Shit, 3.
Nice. 20 best one. The best one.
Yeah, they're all spawning back. You. Close you, left.
I'm trying to get you fast, guys. I just want to
Yeah, try to get 2. Yeah, good play. NC, I'm wrapping
Bottom bed, body that. Nice. What's he stuff?
Deep right box. One shot boxes.
I'm trying.
I'm pushing him.
I got time.
I'm pushing.
Well, Jay, FaZe have turned it up. 21 and 14 for Simp. Cell still on 5 in a row, and you said not everyone needs to drop 30, but they might, depending on how this game continues to go.
Yeah, because they're winning some insane gunfights. You saw Selim with that double on the bottom side of Kitchen. They are making it look easy with either AR or the Jacko in hand, but you see Kex, he's also doing it on the opposing end. The only player currently positive for the Falcons. Trying to give this team a little bit of life to potentially fight their way back into this game, but Atlanta FaZe way too much pressure around the map. Another 3, make it all 4. Dead spawn secured for the next. They're going to be rotated and set up at new.
Yeah, Kix is going to need some help, man. He is throwing in the full effort, tell you that much. 21 and 20, winning a lot of key gunfights, but his teammates just not there to follow up behind it, and now as they get wiped on their rotation over towards new, Atlanta has a chance to win the game here. This comes down to if Vegas can touch and contest enough to try to force another hard point. Draza picking up in the play over through Old at Kitchen. Has an SMG in hand and kicks. Okay, just enough for at least the first blood. Simp behind it, looking to follow up, and he will get the double, leaving just now Vegas trying to hit from the front, and that has also been met with resistance from Atlanta.
Yeah, they're all just getting cut down one by one. A body's able to win at least the gunfight in towards the hill, but Atlanta still with those back spawns, able to instantly put themselves back in position to close out the game here at P4. Final push gonna come in for the Falcons. They opened up with a double. Now the pressure's gonna be here at bedroom.
Simp off another 5 spree. Also gets a read onto a Kicks on the rotation through wardrobe. Can't quite collect, but it does at least force Atlanta off the hard point time, leading to what will be a hot tub hill. A Beezy Draza opened things up nicely, and this looks like it should be the finish line here for Atlanta. A team that, you know, on social media is starting to get a lot of criticism out of, you know, since all the Black Ops 6 events have happened, including the preseason events. 4 hard points that they have been a 100-point club, and now they're looking to kind of return to sender here as they have a chance to put this one away with 10 more seconds of time, Jay.
Yeah, it's gonna be over here. Atlanta FaZe trying to right the wrong so far in their season, finally dominating in an opening hard point. Only need 4 to close it out.
Looking good for it, although Body up top. That's nicely done with kicks and support. Zelia right over the top of this, trying to get the trade. But again, shut down as Vegas look that they will escape the 100-point club. A mere consolation prize, though, as the rotation to new is already pretty much afoot here for Atlanta. Kicks again. You know, just give the kid some credit. This is a Falcons team that barely broke top 24 in Challengers Opens last year. A couple of good online placements, but Kicks has always looked good throughout all of that, and he continues to win some impressive gunfights off 4.
If you also remember when these two squads matched up at EWC, Falcons, they gave them a run for the money. Every single map was close, even though it ended up in a 3-0, and it was exited and kicks. That dynamic duo who were able to put them in a position to even contest it, but final kill gonna come in. Still the back spawns here for Simp, but that is going to be Simp. Mr. Chris Slayer closing out map 1.
Yeah, this is the series that Atlanta needs. They need to have performances like this, kind of quell some of the doubts, because I think the thing about it, and like we kind of briefly touched on, since Black Ops 6 has hosted competitive events, there have been 4 hardpoint maps that Atlanta fans have been 100-point club, 2 in this CDL season, as young as it is. So when you already hard veto out Red Card, and you've been 100-point clubbed on Skyline, you've been 100-point clubbed on Vault, you're sitting there like, what is happening? So big bounce back match here for Atlanta, and they're starting it off very nicely with a convincing win at map number 1.
Yeah, and the thing that I loved about Atlanta's gameplay there is that when they needed to execute team pushes to find breaks, they were able to get it done. It wasn't relying on individual players to make those big time plays. Everyone played a role. Even though Selling was sitting at 21 and 19 non-traded kills, still puts up 3k damage. He opens up with a double on a kill on the hill to allow his Tiny Terror, the SMG duo, and the Simp and the BZ to roam the way that they were. But it was a lot tighter of setups. They were not allowing breaks to come in, spawns to get really hectic. They were in control of that map from start to finish. And you can already see Atlanta FaZe with the practice they've been putting in the back end, improving a lot in Hardpoint here.
And I think it's just, you know, again, zoom out from the fact that this is, you know, a world championship caliber team versus a squad that is still getting their feet wet in the CDL. But the thing about it is the flow on the map just felt so much more like we would expect it for Atlanta. I mean, 64 and 40 combined for the double SMGs, the Tiny Terrors. But I think it's just more impressively so. You've got Cell, who's just continuing to either make early rotations happen, or he's locking down old time to make sure the exits for the Falcons are always tested. Draws is also in a good rotational position. He did well to kind of get himself on the hard point early and often. It just, that felt more like what we would have expected from Atlanta from day one.
Yeah, because they used their raw talent to bombard their way through a majority of these hills here. Because if you think about the beginning of that game, Vegas put themselves in a position to win the rotation over towards P3, win the rotation over towards P4. But then when you come down, when you talk about the setups and when you're relying on that one-on-one gunfight off the rotation and you lose it, that's when you're spawning all the way across the map. And that's when Atlanta FaZe tend to start to run away with these games, when a BZ and Sip are clutching up in those one-on-one gunfights. So Vegas unfortunately cannot secure their very first respawn of the entire season in that map number 1. But now they're going into a bread and butter Skyline S&D where they at least do have one victory there.
Yeah, indeed the case. And you can kind of see where a lot of the damage had been dealt. A lot of it comes on the money hills. P1 to P2, big gap already opened up at the beginning of the game. You saw that again happen from 3 to 4 near the end of the game. So yeah, really good stuff from Atlanta. Kind of able to soak up and get a wealth of time from a number of different locations on Skyline. That's going to be good to go back and VOD review for them to say, okay, this is good, this is bad. We can kind of polish up from here. But we're going to stay on Skyline here, Jay, and go to the search and destroy where, again, you know, it's kind of a puzzling thing to say. Atlanta is currently, by the metrics, the worst search and destroy team in the game. Now, again, the caveat comes off of the fact that as we look at hindsight, their first 3 matches were versus our top 3 teams in the league.
Yeah.
So there's got to be some sort of a, all right, let's not, you know, throw the red flag yet.
Not only is the top 3 teams, I'm pretty sure some of the best teams that we have in the search and destroy game mode. Like Carolina, they are great. Toronto's great. And then LAT, they just have a Hydra and a scrap, so they can win whenever the hell they want. But if you are Atlanta, now you're going to take a look at your road to the major, because obviously starting 0-3 is not the ideal way. When you're one of the most accomplished rosters that we have in the CDL, you have to try to figure it out and figure it out quickly, because the beginning of your schedule was very difficult now that we look at it in hindsight, the way that those guys have been performing. But following this match, you got Rocker, then you got a Breach, who I've been really impressed with that roster, and then Cloud9 finally getting their first dub a couple days ago. So they have an opportunity to potentially still work their way to a 4-3 record.
And I think the thing that's kind of important in the midst of even looking at their recent results, you go back to that LA Thieves matchup at the end of last weekend, you got to remember that was a round 11 and round 10 search and destroy losses.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, that was a closer series than I think maybe we're kind of keeping in mind, simply due to the fact that LA Thieves came out of the gate swinging 250-77 on that full hard point. That just had us all completely aghast. But again, like you mentioned, it does feel like a pathway that needs to win out if we want to try to reduce the damage that had been dealt early. But looking at, again, the numbers, it has not been particularly great, especially I think on the offensive side of the map. That's the peculiar thing. We just have not seen the same value from a BZ try to get that opening first blood for quick bomb plants. That has not been there yet for Atlanta.
Yeah, it's just kind of difficult on a map like Skyline, where These rounds can be ended in the first 15 seconds because you know the pressure that's going to be over towards the A site. You send in the terrors. They find the early 3. Now it's Kicks left in the 1v4.
Yeah, because he gets 2 of them. Yeah, okay. So forget everything we said. Just completely counteracted. And again, it does feel like one of those series where for FaZe, this is going to be one of those we can outgun them, we can outskill them. But at the same rate, you know, hopefully the work that's been done over the last couple hours since they had recently played up against Carolina will also show up here and they can feel good about their playbook.
And that was 100% a 15-second round. We're getting word from our ops in the back. So let us know Atlanta FaZe are really setting the tone early on. And I think that's not going to play into the hand of Falcons because if you think about the time that Falcons won this map, it was about slow and steady wins the race, catching these other teams off guard, especially Carolina when they played them. So can they find early success on their attacks at that A site? Because they'd love to work that bomb quickly.
Well, Vegas are going to take a bit of a beat here, trying to see if they can maybe bait FaZe in. It works out nicely. Kikabuti able to find the first blood. Knows he's got a second nearby and elects to challenge. Simp right there at full HP, happy to follow up for the trade. We'll go 3v3 early.
And Simp is going to just get out, regroup with his teammates to rotate their way on back. Selling him somehow, some ways, they better at least get one before falling. Instantly going to turn it into a 2v2 and look at how fast Simp and Draws are on the map already.
Excellent gets the read. Not really an opportunity to play through Kitchen. And that's actually enough for Exit and Roxas both kind of together to start taking their attention back over towards the hot tub side of the map. This is a difficult cross. You want to try to get the B in a 2v2. You don't have any presence towards Kitchen. It'd be difficult. Oh, how about this? Some initiation here from Atlanta. Excellent, good read. Heads to the prone position. Roxas with them, and Roxas will take both. Okay, solid read there. And that'll get an opportunity for a 1-1 count.
And that's a slow and steady wins the race. You can see Atlanta FaZe, they were not prepared for it, but they still got to laugh those kinds of rounds off because it was a perfect bait and switch out of Exit and Roxas. The setup to double from Roxas to clutch up in that round. Tie the game up at 1, but you can already see on the side of Atlanta FaZe how they are deciding to play this with the aggression. They're sending in the tiny turrets to find early success, but that time they just get a little bit too impatient there, and Vegas are able to compromise them.
Seen a number of teams try to pull that same kind of strategy off of let's just hold back. We don't have trophies. It's gonna be difficult for us to make initiation across the map. Not enough though for Simp and Easy, who are all over this play. Last player left is Roxas over towards the A defense. That will not work out. And it's just down to Kicks. He will be likely stunned. Actually avoids it, but has to force to take a challenge as he's being hunted. And it's a flawless offensive round again for Atlanta.
All right, so opening attacking round for Atlanta took 15 seconds. Second opening attacking round took about 22 seconds. Since the SMG is being super aggressive over towards A again, you're finding the early success. You're putting yourself in the early man advantage. And then in the 4v1, you simply stand no chance when you have full bar control. So if you are Vegas, you probably want to change up your defensive strat a little bit. Try to apply a little bit of pressure around that mid P1 pool area because Atlanta are dominating over towards bar.
Yeah, it's been a little too easy, it feels like, for sure. But we'll see what they can try to do as they modify with trophy systems coming close to being earned. Oh, nice opening nade with a little bit of pre-fire over towards Dross's direction. That connects for an opening first blood. And this is where you need to see the Vegas Falcons show us something out of their playbook. 4v3 in Search Destroying this game, you just cannot afford to lose rounds like this.
Just gotta play your numbers advantage. Try to isolate the player, at least get early info on to how Atlanta FaZe are looking on their defensive setup. Roxas going to be laying down towards the top plat. Still just waiting for one player from Atlanta FaZe to be a little bit more aggressive than they want to, but it's already been 40 seconds, and look at the repositioning out of Avisi.
Looking to get aggressive with this. Kingabooty is able to get a couple of opening shots in, tracks him over towards the pool. Semtex deep, a little bit of pre-fire with it. We need to finish to get this kill. Avisi's just hanging out. Finally, he gets finished off. Cell trying to provide some support, but now he's caught over by Piano, or is he? Nice win from Cell, but it will come at the cost of a post-plant situation for Vegas in this 3v2.
And Simp is hitting the on-the-ground route. Oh, or at least working his way through top hallway. So both players with ARs trying to clutch up into 3v2. They isolate onto Kicks 2v2 now.
They have time for this. Vegas will have to be a little bit worried about the re-wrap back through mid, and they will bail completely all the way out towards the open patio and re-wrap this through mid. It's a proactive play. But can they get here in time to ensure that no one's on for the defuse? You're gonna have to make a commitment, and Sim's able to get the read. Now it's just down to 1. Exit for the 1v2. He's gonna try to play out the clock. down through Jim. Did he see Cell? Maybe not on the initial drop. Check to make sure no one's on it. And Cell, he's able to stick for it. Sip saves his life at 9 HP. And he's going to be able to secure the defuse and a 3v4 round for Atlanta.
And I thought Vegas, they played that to perfection. You turn it into a 2v2. You hit the rotation out, but then you get isolated in those one-on-one gunfights. Because when you put yourself in a position to give up all of bar side and try to work it from pool, there's no angle for you to watch the bomb. So you're panicking a little bit. You have a player drops down from mid-hallway, gets some bad timing. You turn it into a 2v1. But then all you have to do is just eliminate Selling because you had no awareness of where Simp was. Thankfully, you're able to keep your teammate alive. Only 9 HP as Celium stuck that defuse. Atlanta face clutch up on the round.
Heartbreak right there for Vegas. It looked like they had made the right read. But now Simp, he is turning this into a World Star Series right now at 6-1, 4 in a row. Cell connects off his opening nade towards the backside at Jim, or up top actually, pardon me, on the piano steps. And now it's a 3v4 the other direction where Vegas are all full flooding through the catwalk. Maybe a chance to isolate him to Draza here if they can challenge them together, but this is just happening a little bit too slow, and Atlanta's got a perfect post plant.
Yeah, they're wasting a lot of time trying to locate one player.
Oh boy.
They have yet to work their way into bottom bedroom. Finally, someone's gonna go for the chow. Roxas gets the better of Draza. 20 seconds, 3v3.
Timing here, BZ gets caught. Follow up, not going to be there for Simp. He gets turned around. So now it's just down to Cell for the 1v2. He has the clock in his favor. Able to catch Exit, and that'll be enough to secure the round. Not enough time for the defuse, even though Kix does find the kill. So again, it just takes too long. And I think the thing about it, Jay, and I want to kind of hear your perspective. We heard this kind of be floated around, whether it be on the flank or on the desk of, this team, this Vegas squad, they're shooting, they're hanging, but it's the decision making that's really been costing them.
Hey, and the decision making is what's going to probably cost them for a little bit because these guys haven't been playing against the best competition their entire life, like the rest of the guys from North America and Canada. It's just very difficult when you're not practicing versus the top competition. These decisions, these situations that are happening, you have never seen them before. You have not been able to handle it versus the caliber of players that you're going up against. So it's just not going to get easy. We're playing some of the best players in the world. Now currently down 4-1. RC going to get invested to slow down the aggression for Vegas at this A site, but the body already finds himself in the bottom gym, going to get blown up. First blood.
And this is going to lead to, again, Atlanta getting Draza super far forward with a jackal in hand. A little dicey from this position, top halls. Vegas, do they have an idea that he's here? Oh, they did, but can't quite find the first. Draza nearly slips away, but Roxas kicks, able to cut a couple. That will put us to a 2v2, but it'll be easy, sneaky. Through secret. Timing is going to be kind of the key question mark here in terms of when does the BZ want to pop this door and make a play from behind.
And they're probably already having the communications. They're most likely sitting in the back of this spawn because they have yet to move once again. But this time, we're not going to be the aggressors. We're going to allow them to try to make the play because with only 35 seconds left, they had to start thinking about that objective. You're just waiting for a comm to come in from Simp. Now you send in the BZ. But with only 25 seconds left, Simp does fall. 1v2 now.
BZ up top. Able to clear out the B side, at least mostly. Tries to fall in towards Jim, and he's going to be met really by both Falcons who were right around that same drop spot. So Vegas will get around to the board. A little bit of aggression coming out of the playbook, though, from Atlanta with the RCXD in the mix. Looked like it was going to be solid, but just could not find the ground to stand up.
Yeah, it's been all out aggression on every single round, regardless if it's on defense or offense for Atlanta. But that time, Vegas, again, just slowing down the game, slowly but surely picking them apart. Once they isolate onto Simp, they realize that BZ, he's not a slow player. He's going to jump at us eventually. And you catch him working his way down from top cat. Put your second round on the board, but this is where you have to make the adjustments, man. You have not been able to secure any defensive rounds because how aggressive Atlanta keep taking away this mid-map area from you.
And we're going to stack that mid-map area, Jay. That's what the call is here. Think of Booty up top. He's going to have two Falcons flying with it, but Abizi already getting over towards Jim. Takes one, slips away for a moment, but Vegas just taking
there you go.
Aggression. Okay, how about that? A little adjustment, and it's just, hey, let's stack, let's snowball, let's just flood right at him, and that's going to work out as it's just down to Simp. 1v3 opportunity and gets a look at Kix, but cannot finish it off, leading now to a one-round difference with the defuse coming through.
An adjustment comes in for Falcons. They said, we're sick and tired of giving them mid-map and at the same time also giving up A. So this time, we're going to send everybody through top cat, dominate their top plat area, and then even though a body was first blooded there, everyone in position to play that trade. So Vegas now with 2 rounds in a row, finally securing their first defense of the map. Keeping their dreams alive of trying to tie the series up at 1.
Yeah. Okay. Can we start to work with that if you're Vegas? I think on the other front here for Atlanta, lots of confidence off the first 3-4 rounds, just kind of flooding, diving, trying to just outskill your opponent. Now all of a sudden, you get to pay a little bit of respect to the fact that things have started to change. And in a series where the SMGs have dominated, Draza's just at 1-5 right now. He's been kind of flexing around a little bit, though. We saw him with an SMG last round. This time he's playing top piano stairs, and it looks like there's going to be a little bit of exchange of gunfire between both sides, and none will be worse for Wares who stay 4v4.
Yeah, and I think if you're Atlanta, this time on your defensive round, force them to actually plant the bomb, because the both attacking rounds where they won, they did not think about that objective, but Salim again with another RC card, this time cutting off all the bottom bar. You cannot approach over towards this A site without Salim knowing.
Yeah, Kix has one of his own. I'd be curious to see if he tries to use that as a way to kind of use a bit of a forward scout. And you can hear Kix is going to kind of get, at least some sort of an angle on the car playing the third-person peek on the corner. Abizi still, though, finds first blood as King of Booty was just completely by himself over towards Hot Tub. And now we've got a 4v3, 30 seconds on the clock.
Oh, yeah, King of Booty, he was trying to work an underground route while his teammates are working up this objective over towards A. Fortunately, you run into the first blood, King and Abizi. Celium now takes down Exit 4v2. Can you get anything done on 6 in a row?
Good first. He's also working for potential Hellstorm. Keep that in the back of your mind. He needs some help. Or does he? Kicks.
Oh.
Slips away, does earn the Hellstorm. But does he do enough to allow Roxas a chance to convert this 1v2? Cell's gotten the read. And yep, they're just going to completely isolate, and that's enough for Cell to get the win and take this to 5-3. I mean, you got the RC, you've got the Hellstorm for Kix. He continues to play well, but Atlanta, now you're all of a sudden on map point.
Yeah, and that's just a situation where obviously you want the round to start to develop. You want to see what Atlanta FaZe are throwing at you on this defensive look. And this time it was no aggression through the middle of the map. So with a minute going down, you have no info gained. You start to work your way over towards low bar. You blow up the RC car and you take control of the site. But then on the opposite side of the map, you have King of Body before the bomb even gets planted, trying to commit on that gunfight, at least hit a route through underground. But once he falls, it's just very difficult because you probably want to wait for that bomb to go down before you decide to make that play to potentially catch Abizi running into you instead of you running into Abizi. But now that puts Atlanta FaZe at game point.
Decisions to be made here for Kix in terms of what does he want to do with these score streaks. Quick play through the front side at pool at middle. Abizi will completely win over the kitchen. Now we got a quick plan. Trophy system will go down. Hellstorm being called in. And I mean, the damage has already been dealt. Bob's all right, you've got some opportunity here to at least work back through the middle of the map with the Hellstorm covering you, but do they get any information? I mean, they're trying to find Draza. Does Roxas get the timing? Sure does. Careful. Almost loses the gunfight. But now 3v2. Got to find a way to retake.
25 seconds. Still a lot of time to work with, but you're trying to isolate onto Sip. He is going to have King of Body one shot as well. 42 HP. Just send it. And Atlanta FaZe on the attacking round with the aggression basically every single time. Secure their first S&D of the season. It was only a matter of time.
Well, a little moment in the middle of that map, though, where you start to look at Vegas and say, okay, the mines are working. The gears are churning. Able to put together a couple of adjustments, but the hot start from Atlanta, a little bit too much of a gap to come back into the mix, even with Kix still putting himself, I think, what? He finished on like 7 in a row, 8 in a row to get the RC and the Hellstorm. Don't really find the full value with it there at the end. But regardless, another solid map from Kix continues to be impressive for Vegas, but the problem is his team still hard-pressed to find map wins.
Yeah, because it seems like King of Body, the only SMG player for this Vegas squad, is their playmaker. But when you have 5 first steps, you're not really finding any success in your playmaking ability with only 1 first blood. So Vegas, they started to slowly but surely work their way back into this game by slowing down the rounds, and Atlanta FaZe probably getting a little bit overconfident there. But Atlanta FaZe did not let their foot off the gas since that map number 1. They take over the search and destroy, and now they're up 2-0 in the series, looking for their first victory of the entire season.
Yeah, looking for both these two teams looking for a lot of firsts when it comes down to this overall, but at least Atlanta will find themselves a search and destroy win on the way for maybe their first match win as we head back to the desk for our mid-map breakdown.
This is the bounce back they were waiting for, and what's up, Nameless?
I'm just saying Atlanta's back.
Atlanta's back?
They're back.
100%.
I mean, they're getting there. They're getting there for sure.
All right, we're going to show it and how in just a moment. First, though, Allie, let's visit some highlights and talk to me about the search and destroy. You mentioned it during game 1. Kix was catching your eye.
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, he's just gross. I mean, even when his teammates were struggling to put numbers on the board, Kicks ended up doing what he could, going 29 and 28 in that map number 1. And then we come into map number 2. Guy goes on an 8 spree out of nowhere, trying to pull themselves back into the game. Unfortunately, a one-man army is not enough to take down Atlanta FaZe. Things were trading back and forth early, but unfortunately, Vegas Falcons just didn't really change their approach. They very much invested tax often when it came to these defensive strategies to try and catch Atlanta FaZe, to slow them down. But once they did that, they didn't really take a whole lot of space on the map, and I feel like Atlanta FaZe got used to that and was able to counter them fairly easily.
Yeah, they're gelling well today, Atlanta FaZe. Working together well. Tiny Terrors, we've seen a lot of situations, even in that Hardpoint, which we'll go over here in a second. This is how you want to play this game. Utilize the Omni movement, play aggressive for Atlanta FaZe. You can tell today they wanted to make a statement. They're taking these guys super serious, and they've been dominating so far. Got to bring it into control, though.
Falcons trying to keep it close and search and destroy. They'll do the same as we get to a game 3. Before that control, though, let's revisit why Atlanta FaZe is back. Nameless in the green room was like, oh boy, look out.
Yeah, look out for the men. Listen, it's only a matter of time. We all know. If they were to lose this game, they would be on blow watch. Shout out to Octane. But they're not. They're looking good. So let's talk about the situation going over towards P3. So typically what teams will try to do, they want the preferred spawn, which we'll use green here. The preferred spawn's over here on this side of the map. Just because you're going to be rotating to that next hill and dominating. So we're going to talk about what Atlanta FaZe does here and how they execute this. So this is Sip and Abizi, the Tiny Terrors, the players we want to see work together more on the map and play more aggressive. So on rotation here, you're going to see Abizi is going to push up, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to kill this guy, so Simp's going to bait him out in that moment, right? So typically, though, after you execute that kill, what happens is a lot of players will like send their players around to get that preferred spawn, like I was just saying. Well, instead, Atlanta FaZe, they're getting better, and they're peeling back that second layer. What they do is they group up and they adjust and they come to fight over here through the mid gap to help their teammates so they can secure time here and also flip out the Falcons players to get the bad spawn back piano. So I love how they play this, the adjustments that they make. We'll come back to the mini map here in a moment, but let's just sort of watch this rotation. Stellium, big kill on rotation. You look at your mini map, you see Simp and Abizi working through mid, they get that kill, and this is where they play it masterfully. Once again, like I said, if they were to just try to push around for these spawns, these players would then be able to push up and make it a 2 versus 2 versus Draza and Cellium, right? And really, it's not a terrible play, but you don't want that happening. You want to utilize your numbers. So you see all the Atlanta FaZe members sort of grouping around the hill to push out these spawns together. And then if you do successfully get these 2 kills, which they do, Cellium can peek the back to make sure nobody's quick pinching. And then you secure these spawns and spawn them all here, where you can basically chain 2 big hills together, which is exactly what FaZe does. And this is high-level hardpoint, right? So this is what we were asking from them versus the top teams. Can they process? Can they execute this fast enough versus the top team? They're getting there, and you see this is exactly what they do. They push through, they play these kills, Cellium picks up the time, and they ultimately secure these spawns and then go on to win.
That was awesome. Incredible drawn conclusion there by Nameless. I have a follow-up question, though. Do they finish top 4 in our minor tournament when we come back in January?
Ooh, I actually think so, yeah.
Yeah?
Really?
I think they're going to make huge improvements in this month off that we have before the minor. I think they're going to come back stronger than ever.
All right, Falcons looking to win 3 doses of Vault as we have the games coming up. In fact, game 3 is ready right now. Let's send it over. Shift and Study, take it away.
Yeah, I'm really glad that Ant got a chance to do that breakdown in particular, because those are the moments that we really hadn't seen from Atlanta in the respawn in particular, where it just looked like everyone was kind of doing their own thing. But yeah, the teamwork element really come to light on the opening hardpoint. And now we're looking to see if that can be replicated here, Jay, on the Vault control.
I think they can definitely do it, because right now you can see Vegas Falcons, they are just simply struggling in the slaying department. The playmakers are making the plays. The only one finding success in that slaying department is Kick. So someone needs to try to assist them, because you're going up against some of the best players in the world. You need to be able to kill them.
Yeah, we'll take a look to see how the control has shaken up to this point. Again, the records for both these 2 teams have not been particularly great. However, Sip has still looked really good in this mode. A 1.14 definitely launched him towards the top of the overall control kills leaderboard. Plus, of course, his kills per minute are also way up there. So, yeah, he's been really good for Atlanta, even though the mode itself has not been particularly great. I mean, they had a 3-2 win when they did play up against Thieves. That kind of catapulted them back into the series, I think, for a lot of people in that particular matchup. But they did just come off of a round 5 loss to Carolina recently on this map as well, Jay.
And I think I want to put a lot more focus on a player like Draza, who we thought is the perfect fit for this core 3 of Atlanta FaZe. But so far since the beginning of the season, a guy who basically never gets off the game hasn't really been able to find a lot of success in Search and Destroy alongside Control. And we're talking about maps playing like Protocol, like Vault, where your ARs need to be felt. He's sitting at a 0.7. So even with Sip at a 1.18, you need one of your ARs to at least perform a little bit better. So I'm really looking at Draza try to step up here.
I like the call. I think a lot of it could be just down to finding the right tempo as well. And in a map where we've seen a lot of AR presence really kind of turn the tides in terms of tight moments, both offensively and defensively, could be a player to look out for. Here are, again, the overall records. Not bad. For a 1-2 record, again, Atlanta's been in a lot of the matches that they've played so far. Good win percentages across both the offense and the defense. It will be Vegas starting off on the attack first and foremost. And it's going to be a hard, heavy hit up top. And if Easy is right there waiting for it, I don't even know if they stunned or naded it at all. Roxas will get one, but the offense has to wait for respawns.
Yeah, that's not the ideal break off that you want there. For both of the players to get taken down over towards Top Cat, but it happens now. The rest of Vegas just back up, stabilize the map a little bit to allow their teammates to work their way back on out. But effective trades around that middle of the map. You have XNID already pushed up towards Top Cat, trying to catch another spawner as that leads to 2 dead, and now Vegas with a little bit of mid-map control.
And good top balls control. XNID now turns that into a little bit of a pincher on the back. This will work out to get on and stop the clock with a couple of members already stacked up on towards A. Atlanta off their respawn, down towards the bottom left of the minimap, looking like they're trying to recover through balcony side. Kicks, clears out B Street, and now all of a sudden FaZe making a bit of a decision of, are we really going to go for this? And Sim says, sure we are. If not with that, I mean, able to get himself 2. Abizi following behind. Roxas's double will keep Vegas' offense in contest.
Yeah, Vegas still have a couple players around this minimap ready to contest it, but Selim is able to get the better of Kicks for that final player. So now with only 30 seconds left, 1 segment to their name. Have a route being hit with Sip with the perfect read onto King of Body. Puts him down with ease with that Jackal in hand. Now with only 23 seconds left, 3 down in the feed. Farthest player is going to be Roxas. He has to get a couple more if he wants to make a play happen.
And Abizi's on the hunt for the trade and will catch him. No worries over towards Zuka. Now a full-fledged defensive front starting to amass here for Atlanta. Cell on the inside. A bit worried about the catwalk play, but with 5 seconds on the clock, he just needs to make sure no one touches the zone, and that's going to work out beautifully. Last attempt here for Vegas to try to get on and stop, but Simp right here around it, and they will clear off the last contestant on the zone, and the defense will only give away, I think, a single tick of progress there, Jay.
Yeah, single segment in favor of Falcons. And you would take that if you are Atlanta, because when they initially got those 3 kills and they were stacking on that 8 point, Atlanta were really slow on their re-break attempt. But when you allow Sip to just walk right on in through mid-connector and find that double to start off those traded fights, and then they maintain the rest of the map control the entire time, Falcons just didn't have any breathing room to even think about their second objective play. So now they go on the defensive end. Just got to try to keep Atlanta trapped in the back of this one as long as you can.
You can even see again just the emotions of Atlanta, still very lighthearted, smiles and laughter all over. Again, a series that you put the names against each other on paper. This should be a blowout, and so far it has been. Vegas, nice nades, bounced off the wall through Marble. That's going to work out to clear the top walls. Now the focus for Vegas can start to be working forward, and that's nicely done. Okay, good break off here for the defense of Vegas.
They find 3D initial kills. They also take care of Simp. Now you know that everybody else of Atlanta FaZe are off the respawn. You have Kicks already pushing out towards gold as well, so gonna isolate all of Atlanta to force them to work this overextension, and Vegas are ready for it.
Good opener from XNID. King of Booty, though, cannot take care of Draza, who was caught with the pistol out. Trade is good. XNID, a little bit more control. Okay, this is what we need to see. Someone with an SMG starting to step up. And XNID has provided so far 7-4 off 3 in a row, but can he keep up with the likes of Sip and Abizi throughout the entirety of the map? Because Sip is doing stuff like this, a little dash, a little style, but XNID does chase him down to find the trade, and Vegas will hold a 4-life advantage.
Yeah, and there's only 30 seconds left, and Atlanta do not have a single segment to their name. Now Abizi trying to open up a route through this OE. Finds that first go onto King of Body. The rest of the Falcons players working their way over towards B Street, but Atlanta have worked their way into A. But you see the route being hit by Kicks over through Top Cat. Can he find anything?
Taking his time, waiting for a little bit of help. Able to clear off Celium. Clock will still stay paused as more FaZe members are here. And what are we waiting for if you're Vegas? We got the full surround. Let's just hit the go call, and eventually they will. Kicks able to continue his little spree at the moment. Eventually shut down, but the clock will continue to tick. Atlanta now gonna be hard pressed, trying to work their way back in, especially with Exnid. 10 and 5. Really doing a nice job just kind of floating around the zone. He's gonna have a couple of phase members in front. He still deals with one of them. Last player left is Abizi. He has to jump on into the zone. Kingabooty able to get us a little bit of help from Roxas, plus the follow-up is good. And we're just at a one tick affair for the first 2 attacking efforts.
Great defenses from both teams. Just a lot of mid-map control on both ends. That time it was Exnid and Kicks. Just hitting those routes, finding a 2-piece after 2-piece, but every time you thought that they were going to work their way over towards Cat, that's what you had the AR player at Roxas finding a couple of those clutch kills as well. Atlanta FaZe still have yet to try to figure out this control map, but Vegas finally showing a little bit of life in this series, securing that round, tying it up at 1.
And I was about to ask you at a certain moment, like if this continues to be one of those kind of 3 ARs setups for Vegas where King of Body's just not really hanging, do you look to a player like Kicks and be like, yo, you're talented enough. You're obviously gunning with the best of them. Do you try to maybe push him onto an SMG and see if he can maybe run that rogue SMG slaying role that we're so familiar with seeing with our top teams?
If it continues to not work, then hell yeah, why not? Because the guy obviously has the gunny in the back pocket, but
yeah,
he's able to get it done with both. He's just hoping that King of Body can find a little bit of success with his SMG, because right now Exnid, he's also setting that tone with the Jacko in hand, as the first segment is already in. A clean break off right there from Falcons, as now Atlanta FaZe working their way over through Cat. Second tick as well.
Will be locked on in. Draza trying to challenge. Exnid floating just right in and out, but still, Draza combined for the damage. King of Booty trying to work his way in to keep this offensive play alive. Here's a moment. Huge double for him. Knows he's got Sip on the corner. The pre-fire was well provided, just could not quite connect. Exnid trying to follow up. Can he take this into a double? Loses track of Sip for a moment, but the Falcons have numbers and they're still trying to get this extra 60 seconds by finishing the zone.
But you just got to be prepared for all these pitches that are bound, because Atlanta FaZe are attacking from every single angle. Now you just got to take care of Abizi and Sip. Sip falls, Abizi falls, and Kicks with the turn and burn on the Celium. Leads to the A capture being complete. Now 1 minute and 45 to work you with. Work your way over towards B, up by 4 lives.
Telling you, man, Khalid, he can hang. 14 and 7. Little hot swap to the pistol works out. Stunned in place is Exnid, though, as the damage starts to get mitigated. 2 life advantage. Minute 30 on the clock. What can Vegas do with this remaining time? Abizi's been stunned, but does back away to keep himself safe. King Booty up top. Red. Shots go out his direction. Abizi trying to finesse, but Kicks will find the kill. Trying to follow on a second, and Roxas will provide. Draza in trouble. Deals at least with 1 Falcon member, but the hit towards B's on the way.
They're on B. Now you're just hoping that Draza can find a little bit of something over from gold area. Gonna put himself towards the top. Roxas knows that he's on the pinch, but Draza's able to get the better of him. Now you're just gonna slide away if you are a Kick, because you don't want to die at this B point in the positioning that you're currently in. But that first segment is almost gonna be there complete.
King of Booty just gonna watch on this cross, playing bottom side art. Now he's gonna make a move. Timing could be decent here. He's gonna be able to catch out Cell, completely unbeknownst to the play very quickly underneath art. You know Simp is above. Stun for King of Booty will actually, I don't think that actually lands onto Abizi. He still wants to try to take the gunfight. Simp off spawn, able to make sure the zone stays relatively clear of Vegas members, but now all of a sudden, King of Booty's in a really good spot with the Jackal. Gets a bit, the help over the top is beautiful. And here comes Vegas, 12v5, Stack is in. Trophy system down, keeps them safe, and they will convert the offense and go up 2-1.
Whoa, you see, then they're starting to roar. They're trying to find a little bit of energy. And that's when everyone just has a piece of the pie right there. All had their moments of body. Once he get pushed up in towards bottom mark, he went on 3 or 4 in a row. Just slaying with the Jackal. And also that aim is in hand, but it was all came down to the initial breakoff. You get clean forward dead, you find an early 2 segments, and then you close out and extend that time with Kicks finding that triple. And then at that point, Atlanta FaZe, they were on the back hill the entire time. They could not work out of their space. Every time you saw Celium or working his way up through B Street, someone was watching that overextension. Atlanta simply did not have any map control on that round, and now they're down 2-1.
Another wake-up call here for Atlanta.
Hello, get it together.
Yeah, I'm saying. Focus over towards poolside. Abizi gonna get up top onto Marble. Good read down low.
Hello.
But Roxas responds beautifully. Sif Draza tries to keep the offensive play alive on towards A, but here comes the reattempt from Vegas. Roxas gets 1. Nade cooked up. Will keep not just Vegas at bay, but it also finds King of Booty. And now it's just down to what does Exton want to try to do from above. He's able to clear at least one of the FaZe members off the zone for now, but with the trophy system in, Vegas will still have to break this again.
Yeah, Vegas got to work their way on in. You have a route being hit from Kicks, playing it super patient, knowing that Celium is coming off the respawn, but should have managed to play his life. Hopefully his teammates can find a little bit of success as Roxas takes down Celium, exiting the King of Body. That's 3 dead in the feed. Last player is Draza, and Atlanta FaZe are not successful at closing out that A point. Now everyone off the respawn, trapped over towards P2 side.
I was gonna say Vegas, they've got a really solid read on this. Kicks blocking the top right side of the minimap means that everyone has to spawn towards what P2 would normally look like, but FaZe do break through the setup and now get right back on towards the A zone. Kicks try to follow up behind this to try to keep this life lead in play for the defenders, but an extra 60 seconds has been tallied, and even though it's been messy, FaZe have a lot of time to work with here in this offense.
And they also have 3 dead as well to go with it. Roxas on 5 in a row. Information already gained that he's trying to push out in toward bottom Vol, but Draza chases him down. Now all of Vegas coming off of the respawn, but at least they do have a couple players roaming around that mid-map already.
Clock will stay paused at a minute 34. FaZe trying to hang on. Booty will clear the zone, but the kills still turn up in favor of FaZe. Tough gunfight here for Roxas as he's got one in front of him and then more a little bit deeper. But the shots are decent. Damage has been tallied, but FaZe quick off to B Street respawn. Right on over. Keeps the clock paused, and they even get a lot of progress done here on the second tick. Roxas feels the pressure to try to challenge, kind of caught in no man's land. Xdid trying to keep this offense limited, but FaZe will stay on the zone.
Second sector does get complete. Now it's going to turn into a one-on-one. The body gets the better of Draza. Xnit also takes down Celium, so now you can have a little bit of breathing room. So you have R control, you have a little bit of B Street control as well. You're also dominating in towards bottom vault, so now you're going to force the rest of Atlanta FaZe to try to work this overextension, try to push their way through mid-line. Sip opens up with the first.
This route has to find success. Xnit on one side, Kikabuti on the other, but neither will find any success. Third tick being worked on, 12v9. Nice shots. This clears off backside palms, and in the same breath, Xnit from vault doors will clear off the rest of FaZe. That's another 4-man feed. Here we go. This could be the first respawn win for Vegas. 48 seconds on the clock. Atlanta has to find a way to break.
8v9 lives remaining. Atlanta now going to slowly work their way out of their spawn. So if you're off Falcons, you still want to have someone be the aggressor. And I love the route being hit out of X. They're going to take your sweet time to flank all the way towards the B Street. Every kill that you get, they will spawn them all the way in the opposing side of the map. Now with 25 seconds left, Exit on 5 in a row. A BZ on the pitch. He gets shut down, and Vegas might find it right here. Their first respawn win.
Well, Cell gets double though through B.
Oh no!
Simp also clears things out. It's just down to who are they going to commit to getting onto the zone. 10 seconds. It's going to be Simp to touch to keep the clock paused. 4v5. Xnit is in a spot to where he may be able to come up from behind this. Kicks clears off the player at Art. It's just down to what Celia can do. MacArthur, he's still staying alive. Oh! Outbound with the BZ. Last player on the zone. Pistol is out. 8.9 seconds, but the double stack is in. And a BZ and Celia will save the map for Atlanta.
Woo-wee, it should not be that hard if you are Atlanta FaZe, but thankfully you still got the clutch gene in those final moments, selling with a huge double. But then to eliminate that player in towards bottom vault, just putting down shot after shot. You can always guarantee Celium to put down the damage, but this time you get a BZ with the assists to find the final 2. It would look to be a Vegas respawn victory. Atlanta snatch it away from them. Now we go round 5.
How many times in this season, the young season we have, has Celium come up huge to save Atlanta FaZe in a couple of key moments? So far, it feels like every time they need him to. He's on 5 in a row after what has been a pretty underwhelming performance to this point. Roxas clears off the zone. Atlanta will have to try to win this through a round 5 offense in Vegas defensively. Good for essentially what is a 3-for-1 exchange in the middle of the map.
You're now Simp, last player alive. You just want to try to play your life, finesse a little bit, force these players from Vegas to split on their defensive setup, as now he's working his way over towards B. Gonna have a one-on-one gunfight versus King. A body stun gonna come in, and a body gets the better of him. So that leads to 3 dead in the feed. A BZ now, farthest player pushed up. Gonna put himself in a position over towards R. Now he's gonna give the comms. We can push over towards B Street.
Yeah, he's gonna be on the hunt here for Xnit. Last one to come off the respawn. Draza will be, I'm sure, watching this outer pool ball. Just completely. Oh! BZ away, and then he deals with Simp as well. Draza with the trade, but Kicks right there to return it right back to sender again. So here we go. 23 plays 18, 38 seconds on the clock, and Abizi's feeling the pressure like he needs to make a play. 1v1 that Exton takes, and the Vegas defense is now all of a sudden in the face spawn.
And this is just so simple right here for Vegas. You have one player pushed out over towards gold. You want Atlanta FaZe to spawn over towards poolside, and they are trapped. They cannot get out. 25 seconds, not a single segment to their name. You need to get on the objective.
A little shimmy, a little shake here from Abizi, King of Booty. Oh, he needs the help, and he actually gets the Semtex to connect. FaZe, a little bit more freedom off the spawn towards pool. Still need to break through this setup as Xnid gets his 36th elimination. Put a sub in this kid's hand forever. Wow, Roxas and Kicks shut down stuff from the middle, and now it's just down to the last handful of moments. And I imagine the smiles for FaZe are going to be completely wiped from their faces as Vegas get a control win versus Atlanta FaZe to extend the series.
Damn, that was beautifully played, man. I don't think we saw, what, 3 defensive rounds out of both teams and then 2 attacking rounds to obviously get us to the round number 5. But just the pressure, the slaying right there out of Vegas from start to finish of that map. This is what they need to do. You can tell that they showed the improvements because they really struggled. You talk about playing your life in certain situations, making the game a lot easier, but you're seeing nothing at BC. Let's just take it away from them, spawn them over towards poolside, and that made it very difficult for Atlanta because no one was wrapping back. They didn't want to waste their time on that gunfight on the back end. They just continuously pushed on forward. And when you got players like Exit, Roxas, and Kicks just putting up the numbers that they did, how many times did we see Exit clutch up in multiple gunfights with that Jackal versus the likes of Simp and Abizi, who usually don't win, lose those up and close personal gunfights with that Jackal? He was getting it done. Vegas Falcons now showing a little bit of confidence versus the team in Atlanta FaZe.
Unreal stuff. 23 non-traded of the 30 plus from Xnid. And I'm sure the questions are going to be now answered in terms of who's going to pull out a solid second sub for Vegas. Let me see Xnid on it from here on out, man. This was some solid gameplay from him. A number of moments where he has to deal with both the tiny tears, and he does, or at least gets one and also gets a little bit of damage to help confirm a trade. You can kind of go back and see it on the scoreboard. The non-traded kill percentage for Vegas was extremely high compared to the opening respawn.
And the reasoning of that is because Atlanta FaZe again fall back to this method where they're relying on individual players to make individual plays. How many times did they get 3 dead around that middle area, and then you have Simp and Abizi pushing out towards you, playing for those kills, allowing Vegas to work their way on out, and then set up these pitches to get these positioning plays to put themselves back in map control. It's just Atlanta, we can't really do that. We need to make the game easier on ourselves. Like, Celium was over towards B Street, but he never pushed out past that 50-yard line. Never blocked the spawn for his teammates, so they were consistently all scattered all around the map. It's just Atlanta did not have control from start to finish. Just Vegas, they were the ones dominating the slaying department, making the game easier, forcing them to spawn where they wanted to, and eventually now they force this game 4.
Insane stuff, man. But as we continue to look at what is going to be a long stretch of vaults, I just got to see Xnid continue to run this SMG.
Oh, yeah.
Without question. He able to put up a monumental performance, one of the top overall control kills rounds that we've seen so far this year. And just another note that we kind of have done from production is that is not the first time that FaZe have allowed a team to essentially fringe upon record-breaking moments against them. They did it earlier versus Carolina as well. They're just not finding the same kind of slaying presence that we saw, I think especially from last year.
Yeah, the slaying presence obviously isn't there, but the game plan isn't there right now for them in control. Hopefully, when we add a third control map into the mix, they can potentially find a little bit of success in this mode because Vault has not been treating them nicely. The ARs aren't finding their kills. Map control is not in their favor, and they continuously are running out one by one and getting picked apart and always coming off the respawn just trapped in their base. Not easy to win like that.
No, not at all. So, again, like we just mentioned, we're going to see at least one more vault, if not another, if we get to a map number 5. The interesting tidbit about this map 4, though, Jay, is that neither of these two teams have really preferred to see it. We haven't seen Vegas play it at all. And the only time we saw Atlanta play it, they got smoked in about what was like a 5-minute hard point where they lost 77 to 250 to the LA Thieves. So this is going to be one of those moments, again, where we can kind of take a breath and try to evaluate, is Atlanta actually getting better in their respawns in particular? I think that's kind of the big question mark with what we just got off the Skyline map number 1 earlier in this series.
Yeah, we're going to be looking at the fundamentals on a map like Vault because we know that P3 to P4 chain is the money hill. If you can secure that hill, you're basically going to guarantee the game, especially if you're going into 3 rotations of this map. because we see it usually go all the way down to the end. P1's a scrappy, P2's a scrappy, but that P3 to P4 chain, even if you don't find a lot of time on P3, just keeping them off it and guaranteeing those spawns for that P4 is going to be for your avenue of success if you want to win this map.
All right, well, here we go. Is there going to be enough adjustment here? Who's going to run the second SMG for Vegas? Handful of questions as we're learning about two of our squads that find themselves at the bottom of the standings early on in the 2024-2025 year. It will be FaZe over towards the poolside spawns, and they are going to try to immediately get up top, hit Marble, see if they can get around the back, and yeah, they will find Roxas. Draza on the interior also clears the hard point for Sim to jump on.
Early 3 dead. Now the spawns do get a little mixy. Thankfully, Draza is blessed with the parallel. Is going to give the comms on at least 2 players. Finds the freebie onto King of Body. Also the second onto Roxas. Job well done. You flip the spawns right on back, and you're still sucking up this P1 time with 25 seconds remaining.
Keep your eye on Kicks, just trying to stay around the back. Abizi able to track him down pretty swiftly. And with that FaZe, another 4-man feed. So off to the races here for Atlanta. They recover off of the one misfortune spawn. And now all of a sudden, lots of focus towards what Vegas can do, trying to rotate through that top Palm Street.
Yeah, we're boosting stats right now. You just have Celium sitting all the way in the back. Actually, it was a Beezy before falling, just blocking that back spawn, allowing Draza to get as far pushed up as he was. And off the rotation, Atlanta FaZe are going to win it towards P2. Draza's now set to strike. Finds another double through the front end. Now you know the pressure's going to be on the backside. Still going to be a split spawn, but here comes Celium.
Yeah, the timing of this hit was just not ideal here for Vegas. You had 2 players working around the back, 2 from the front. It's just like, are you guys going to go first? Are we going to go first? And in that breath, Atlanta deal with just about everything at the same time. Kicks trying to salvage, and he does well, catches a couple. Draza still trying to lock down at least a block of the spawns, but that backside patio spawn will still be available for a moment for Vegas. Abizi working on it. Lots of damage towards X. Then in the pre-fire will get him a second, leaving Kicks by himself. Spawn still closed for Vegas, but Atlanta have cleanly broken from the front.
Yeah, you don't really want this to have those back spawns for that next hill because there's only 10 seconds left. You want to try to fight this all the way to the very end. But to try to get a little bit of time now off towards P3 without having hard spawns is not going to be easy. But now if you are Simp, you want to try to back your way on up. Make sure you account for everyone because King of Body is going to be blessed with a spawn over towards the backside of this hard point. Just going to wait for his teammates to try to find a little bit of success from the front end, but Sim shuts it all down.
And King of Booty just needs to get involved. He's still over towards the backside looking to see if he can catch people off spawn. And he gets eliminated. Okay, so 74 plays 5. Draza around the back, good pinch. And also getting the read that the spawns for Vegas will still be in front of him. So Irons will stay up for him. Nice little turnaround as he's able to connect on the Kicks, but Vegas will break out and have a chance to get a little bit of time here on 3.
Yeah, they need this time because it's going to be very difficult to try to break in towards P4. Thankfully, one player in Celium is going to spawn all the way across the map, and Sim now should spawn alongside him with him. With Celium finding that kill, you're just going to take him off of this hard point time. You know that your teammates have this money hill off the rotation over towards New. I just hope you can find every single kill from the front end instead of for full 60 at next.
There we go. Chance maybe flood through the old time in towards Art. You got Celium up top trying to hold off the Vegas Falcons, but Exnit actually wins a really tough gunfight from right in front of him. So now you've got a wrap around the back here for Vegas. FaZe will spawn out. But the timing of them trying to make their way back through the street is working out pretty darn nicely. Draza is still holding a position over the top of P4. Now it's just down to can they isolate? A couple of key eliminations coming through, and now we're going to finally get a status of the spawns where Atlanta could spawn close.
Yeah, Atlanta at least going to get one player to spawn in from the back, and now you have Simp set up for a free pinch through that front end. Abizi just throwing shoulders left and right, slide, slippery slide. Trying to stall time for your teammates to get into the play. You get into the hill, but you get taken down by Kicks. Again, another masterful 2-piece out of him, giving his team moments to now finally secure this final 25.
I mean, it's not even just the fact that Kicks is dealing with, you know, a couple of 1v2 moments. He's valuing his life really nicely. I mean, everything you want in terms of checking individual boxes, Kicks has provided. Tough gunfight there for Abizi. He tried to push forward to King of Booty's direction. Trade from Draza, but with only 5 seconds remaining, Atlanta's not really interested on the old time. They're more just trying to put together an aggressive zone around P1. And Celium working over towards the front side of Lion has done well to at least get a read on where this exit is occurring. Just comes down to can he deal with it? And no, because again, Kicks is in his way.
Yeah, he's on 4 in a row as well. So now you have the numbers if you are Falcons. Try to apply pressure in towards mid-map, but Abizi gets the better of King of Body. Draza finds a double. Last player mid-lobby is also going to forward, clean forward dead. And you see Simp on your mini-map? I'm chilling. I'm just a chill guy blocking the spawn. You guys can have some fun. Keep soaking up that P1 time.
So far, so good. Easy off of his own stun, just pushing forward, trying to make sure Vegas do not get entry from the front. A chance to possibly work over through the hole in the wall here as Exned will jump through vault side. Roxas with him. Sip now has to come forward to the play, and as he does, almost takes down the triple. Kicks shuts him down because of course he does. He's been there for pretty much every single moment that the Falcons need him, but not enough to hold on to the scrap time. Just comes down to can they battle for P2 spawns.
Now off the rotation, people are dropping like flies. Last player alive is going to be Roxas, but you see that trophy, you get the info. Someone's got to be in the back. Celium, are you blind? Unbelievable. Doesn't find that kill, but thankfully Simp is there for the trade. Back spawn secured. Atlanta FaZe are in.
I mean, I get it. They're in bright white outlines for us, but still, it's right in front of you. Abizi over the top. Okay, that will reduce the hit for Vegas and kind of save the hard point here for Alello. And yep, there's an extra one for Abizi. 18 and 11, having the best SMG map to this point. And he's got more in front of him. Concussion is difference. Extend will drop, and now Abizi is looking for more even further towards the Vegas spawns.
This is just so annoying. Look at Simp, calm, cool, and collected on the back, just blocking that back spawn, allowing Abizi to roam the way that he is. He knows that they have to apply the pressure through the front end. Finally, he is gonna fall. And if you're Vegas, you're like, please, somebody get this guy. It's now Atlanta with a flawless 60 hold. They're at P2. Already having a couple players sneak on by to work their way over towards Art. Simp, his turn to catch a double, secure these back spawns for his team. They are dominating right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the thing that kind of keep in your mind here is like how the individual skill, which we're seeing time and time again, but the baton passing between Simp and Abizi has looked much better today than in their first 3 games, where Abizi's hitting around, Simp's holding the back like you mentioned, and then as soon as Abizi falls, Simp says, all right, my turn, and then he makes the play forward to hit the route. So again, better macro gameplay here from FaZe as they enjoy a 120-point game right over the top of our Mixius Hardpoint on the map at P3.
25 seconds still to fight for here, though, if you are Falcons. Last time around, you were able to work your way with a bunch of kills in your favor up through that B street to keep that P4 a little bit scrappy, but you can already see Atlanta FaZe starting to play it a little bit safe. Back on up. Make sure to secure the spawns over towards next, but Falcons might have just stripped that away from them. Can you find anything more? They got at least one player towards the back in King of Body.
Yeah, indeed the case. 2 players now here, Exit and King of Body both. Opening shots from Exted. Knows that there's a threat nearby. King of Booty nicely done as he finds Simp trying to break through the front, and that's going to be enough for now the Vegas Falcons to spawn immediately right behind the hard point. Big win for Roxas. Not having a great map, but that's a key elimination to try to help Vegas get back into this game.
The back spawn is now here for Atlanta. 3 go dead in the feed for Falcons. King of Body. Can he get anything done? At least takes down one before falling, but still a lot of time to fight for here if you are Atlanta. You got all your bases being watched. Draws are watching the cross. And the rest of Atlanta just waiting for the pressure to develop for this final 25.
Nice angle here from Abizi. Knows he's got players over towards Art. Doesn't quite catch the timing on the Exit's challenge. Draza following up. Is able to go 1 for 1. Leaving Celium to try to fight as much as he can for this scrap time. 1v2 moment, and he will eventually be overwhelmed. But again, that's fine for FaZe. They stay just short of the 200-point threshold, but they are fully set up and ready to go for the new hill.
For our Falcons, you need to find a break and find it quickly. Atlanta going to be able to breach that 200-point mark. You know the SMGs are going to be right in your face, ready for these gunfights. As soon as you work your way out of that old hard point, but Kex gets the better of Abizi. Simp strikes for 2. Now this is going to slow down the rest of Falcons because you cannot clutch up in a 2v3.
Yeah, Simp knows that there's a player towards bottom vault. Trying to calm that out, but I don't think they realized that that player was Exnid who tried to go over towards poolside. Yeah, Draza gets caught by surprise. That's a fully healthy Vegas Falcons member up top, and now here comes the hit from the front. Simp dealing with the initial. Where's the follow-up here for Vegas? Timing of these grades are just not coordinated. Not at all. Roxas seen up top. Simp now on 4 in a row. 24 and 16 as FaZe have well and truly put this map out of reach.
Yeah, they cannot win it here at P1, but it's basically a GG if they continue to hold down the Swans the way that they have been. So in this P1 to P2 chain for Atlanta that has blown this game wide open. Abizi still not slowing down. Hey, buddy, I see you over towards pool, and I also see your teammate. I'm picking up, switching left and right. He's going to commit on the gunfight, and he's able to get the better of him. Atlanta FaZe going to get their first dub of the season.
You could just see Abizi like, give me that, give me that. And, well, it's an interesting map because, like we said, Abizi and Simp, nice little back and forth between them. I'm sure Cell is going to be like, I hope you guys had fun because he soaked up about 3 minutes of hill time. I think he finished like 12 and 12. So just kind of chilling as the Vegas Falcons will stay at the bottom of our scoreboard and standings. They do tally another map win. Better effort on the control overall, but the hard point still a major worry here for Vegas Falcons fans.
Yeah, the hard points are going to be a struggle for quite some time if you are the Falcons, because you can already see they have a lot of issues that they need to work on. Slaying being one of them, rotations, at least winning your rotations in certain situations being another, not dying off rotations and spawning all the way across the map in the final 10 seconds is another big thing. But there's also these team fights. It looks like they're relying on a lot of one-on-one gunfights to try to make these plays happen. That's why we see kicks popping two-piece after two-piece. But every single time that they're not finding those kills, they just keep on allowing the game to get away from them. It's so